Hello, everybody. It's Rick. Please, let me do this. Please look at that, huh? Please like and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. It helps the algorithm. Okay, and to receive my paperwork package to help get off or stay off child support in exchange for a small gift, please get in touch with me by using all my emails to ensure I receive your message. So, today's February 1st, 2026. I hope everyone had a great holiday and Happy New Year. All right, so we're going to talk about an effective way to challenge the court's jurisdiction. There are many ways to do it. Today, we're going to talk about uh, figuring out the legislative intent using statutory construction, doctrines, and by looking at the definitions, you can figure out if you fall within the individual class that the legislature intended when they made the law. Okay, so hang in there with me. I'm new at this. Okay, all right. I even got my own thumbnail. Okay. So, all right. So let me get to the video. Okay, that I pre-recorded and I'm gonna put on the screen. Okay, so hang in there. Are the doctrines of Ejusdem or Jusdem generis and nociter associis. Okay, the canon statutory known in it's the canon of statutory construction known as Ejusdem generis of the same kind seeks to ascertain the intent of the legislature in enacting a statute and does not apply if a contrary intent is clearly shown. Under the canon of ejusdem generis, when, as part of an enumeration in a statute, general words follow specific words, the general words are presumed to be and are construed as restricted by the particular designations. Thus, the general words include only things of the same kind, character, and nature as those specifically enumerated. A court typically uses ejustus generis to ensure that a general word will not render specific words meaningless. Under the maxim nociter associis, if two or more words are grouped together in a statute, the meaning of a particular word may be determined by reference to the meaning of associated words. This is how you determine the class of person, individual. Individual class is probably the right way to frame that. And what the statutory intent was intended for. So, if the statute was intended by the legislature to apply to legal entities and you are a living man or woman, you do not fit within the class that the legislature intended it for. So, to prove that the legislator intended a statute for a particular class or status of legal entity. I just said that. Oh, wow. The rule of ejusdem generis is based on the obvious reason that if the legislature had intended the general words to be used in their unrestricted sense, it would have made no mention of the particular classes. Under the maxim of nociter associis, if two or more words are grouped together in a statute, the meaning of a particular word may be determined basically by the company it keeps, okay, meaning by the associated words and phrases. Okay, so what does this mean? So in these child support statutes, they like to define words. Okay, so what I have here is the definition of person. This is from the New York statute. So because they're defining person, what they're saying or implying is that it's not the general meaning of a person as a man or woman. They want you to believe that, but this is why they're defining it. Okay, the Family Court Act. Okay, but if you go and you research all the other states, they're all pretty much defined the same way. So let me show you. Person means an individual. So what we're looking at, what is an individual? Well, they want you to think that an individual is a man or a woman or a human. And I don't like using the word human because you know what human really is? Hue is color and man. So it's color of man. So there are, I believe it's in the Ballantyne's dictionary, and I forget how long ago it was, but there, so I've seen where a human is defined as a monster. So you are the color of a man, the appearance of a man. So that's why I don't like using human if I can avoid it. Anyway, so the individual is followed by corporation, business trust, an estate, a trust, partnership, limited liability company, association, joint venture, public corporation, government or government subdivision, agency, or instrumentality. Now, here's the key. Here I have it in blue. Or any other legal or commercial entity. So these are all legal or commercial entities, just because of this last section right here. So an individual, you can make the argument, is a legal or commercial entity. You can make the argument that you're not an individual and that the legislature intended this statute to apply to these classes right here, these classes of legal or commercial entities. So now this is under 1 USC section 1. So let me see something. Let me see. Yeah, right here. See, okay, quick note on this. US code, these are intended for federal land. Okay, so any enclaves, federal enclaves, DC, the Virgin Islands, those areas, not the states. Okay, unless you're in a federal enclave on state property, it doesn't apply in the states. Okay, but this is how they use these. They like to use this if somebody's smart enough to show using the justum generis doctrine and nociter associs. Sounds like sausage almost, but they'll pull this out of their little bag of tricks. So the way to fight this is that U.S. codes do not apply on state property. See annotated section 1, words denoting number, gender, and so forth. Okay, right here, just so we have some reference. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to be. The words person and whoever included corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals. Okay, so that right here, they can make the argument that they intended it for people as well. Okay, so as we see, this is, I feel, important. It's an important argument that if you're not included in the class, okay, or status that the legislative branch intended when they created the statute, then it doesn't apply to you. Okay, so that's a defense. So one of your defenses could be the legislative intent when they have the definition provision section of a statute, which is under the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act, because they want everything uniform. So they don't want any they want everything to mean the same thing. That's why it's called the uniform. They want uniformity. Okay, so you could take that and say, well, I do not belong to that class. You have to prove I belong to that class. So it's a good defense, and that's what this is. This is right here. I'm just showing you. This is from Corpus Juris Secundum statutes. Okay, interpretation of language. So you're trying to interpret the language of the legislature. This is, you could read this, right? Like other canons of statutory construction, ejusdem generis is simply a helpful guide to legislative, it's a lot to say, legislative intent. Okay, so you can see what the legislature intended it for. Okay. So if you look at the ticker on the bottom, for the court to have jurisdiction, it's important to ask, what classification of person did the legislature intend the statute for? And are you, the defendant, within that classification? That's what this is all about. Again, another defense. Okay, so what I want to show you here now, I found this case researching this. All right, now this is not it's not officially published. It's from California. Now, I do not know this guy, but he's definitely using my paperwork or arguments from my paperwork. I believe he probably got the paperwork from somebody that I'd helped get off child support. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. He's a nice guy. I don't have a problem. I didn't like selling my paperwork included, but he took care of that. He's a nice guy. I'm not going to say his name, but anyway, this is just to show you that I've made this argument. Now, this is an appeal, okay, and they're not publishing it. Why? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but so what happened was he demanded an immediate dismissal on the grounds the agency for the state child support enforcement and state court lacks personal jurisdiction over the defendant himself, who is a living man, a state citizen, not a person. I would stay away from using a state citizen. I don't like it. I would stay away from using the word citizen. Citizen has many definitions. Hopefully I can remember. I'll do so. I was just actually looking at it today. Actually, you want to stay away from citizen. Again, it has many definitions, and none of them benefit you. Okay. Anymore. After the word person, Bloberg included a footnote, and I know this because I have the paperwork. This is paperwork from 2019, where I would added the citation that under the United States Code 1301, subsection A, section 3, the term person means an individual, trust, or state, a partnership, or a corporation. And I wouldn't use the the federal, that's a federal code. I would stick to the state code under the state statute under the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act. Okay, again, learning. I mean, this is like I've been doing this a long time. I'm still learning. Okay, and this is where they got, because they had no answer for this. Bloberg offered no explanation of why he was not an individual. Okay, now we know this is the argument that this video is for. This is the defense by using the statutory construction doctrines, ejusdem generis and nocitur associs. You can make the argument, which I do in my paperwork, of as a defense that you do not belong to the class of individual class in the statute. Okay, that's how you do it. But they got slick here. Again, this is the appeal court. So, this is what you got to dot your I's and cross your T's with these people. And thus was not a person under this definition. Now, they got slick here. Under this case here, Thaler versus Vidal, 2022, when used in a statute, individual refers to human beings. Well, actually, the correct was ordinarily refers to human beings. So they left ordinary. And again, what they're doing there, they were citing the United States Code that I showed before. So, and again, if you're not on federal land or federal property, the federal district that I can't remember off the top of my head, and I should, but anyway, you're on state land, so it doesn't apply to you because the legislative intent of federal codes and laws are there for District of Columbia, the Virgin Islands, and all the other things. My memory's shot. I apologize, but that's who it's intended for. So that would be another defense. Well, I'm not on federal property. I'm not in a federal possession of the United States. Out of there, which is kind of suspicious to me. Okay, so this is the case here. All right, so this case here is citing the Thaler Vidal case. Okay. I see. The ordinary everyday meaning of individual refers to human being, not an organ. Now, and again, if it was the ordinary meaning of a person, why would they have a definition of person in the statute definition section provision? Okay. And Congress, normal course, does not employ the words any different. But see what they did here as well. So the way that the words are listed at the end of the sentence. Okay. Right here. Right here. As well as individuals. You don't see that here it is, or any other legal commercial. So they're just telling you what these are. So if they were going to word this, they should say as well as individuals. Okay. So a person here, the statute was intended for legal or commercial entities, in my opinion. Okay. And this is, so they had to do this case here. They made an argument that an individual, basically the argument that an individual is not a human or something. I think this was about AI or something like that, if I remember correctly. But the point is that they looked at the statute and they came to, this is the Supreme Court, by the way, that an individual is only natural persons. I don't like natural persons. So I'm just showing you how they came, and the California case. They just got slick, but it ordinarily refers to human. So that means it's not, if it's ordinarily, that means it's not definitely. Okay. So by using these doctrines, you can make the argument that that the statute was intended for a particular class, and I do not belong to that class, right? So you can make the argument that the statute, the child support statute, the word person is meant to be legal or commercial entities. And these are the list of them right here. So an individual is not what they call natural person, because these are not the company here. Remember, nocitur assist. These words are associated with legal or commercial entities. So it's not a living man or woman, or what they like to call a natural person. And again, this is just another tool to fight these people. Because again, I showed you here that I made this argument 6 years ago in my old paperwork, and this is their best was he offered no explanation. Well, the way to go about it is you have to make them prove it. Okay, right? You would have to say, what evidence do you have that I am in that individual class? And then you'd say, it's my understanding, blah blah blah, of the justum generis, of the doctrines of statutory construction, that I do not fall within the meaning of that individual class. And again, they got slick here. The appeals court in California. Then they went and found some case that said that an individual means a person, a human being. Okay, but again, then why are they defining it in the definition section under the California Uniform Interstate Family Support Act as a person? And we gave the where is it? Person means an individual, corporation, business, trust, estate, trust, partnership, limited liability, association, joint venture, public corporation, government or governmental subdivision, agency or instrumentality, or any other legal or commercial entity, and they imply not listed. Okay, does that sound like a human, as they call it? No. Okay, so this is a great tool for defending yourself. And this is another way, an effective way to challenge the court's jurisdiction. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. Please remember to, again, if you're still here, hopefully, I hope you learned something here. Please like and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.